The economy was booming, the car was taken over, the West had been won, and America had come to see itself as a single entity united to save the world. In the spirit of this new world, William Earl Dodge Stokes, the rich heir of the Ansonia Clock Company, made moves to pave Broadway in order to make manifest his grandiose vision for a residential hotel that would come to be known as the Ansonia. Leisure was being reimagined through the lens of cinema, exercise, and amusement parks. And Stokes's utopian vision capitalized on the desire for entertainment. The eccentricities he imagined were the first part of a fantastical cocktail that transformed the Ansonia from a luxury hotel and into a heterotopia of deviance. As defined by Michel Foucault, a place where behavior deviates from the expected, functioning on the fringes of society and propriety, and yet an essential cog in shaping the world around it. Over the next 100 years, the Ansonia and its community became a great reserve for the New York City imagination. The building not only attracted celebrities and influencers, but was instrumental in creating them. The building became a haven for otherness, continuously transforming to include new kinds of deviance. A place where cultural institutions and assumptions are simultaneously represented, challenged, and overturned. I believe a telling of its history and the evolution of its community in chronological order will illustrate the heterotopic evolution of the Ansonia. This evolution involved a series of insular communities which intermittently opened themselves to the public, just long enough for their peculiarities to touch the world and shape it. Much like the seafaring ship, a quintessential heterotopia, touching in at port before vanishing back to sea. Stokes's utopian vision for the Ansonia was a self-sustaining community reimagined vertically, a veritable cornucopia of both leisure and spectacle, but also innovation and experimentation. The world's largest pool could be found in the basement for exercise and exhibition. On the plaza level there were shops, and residents could sometimes be spotted grabbing a bite or a shave in their bathrobe. Throughout the interior were ballrooms, lounges, live seals, and a pneumatic tube communication system. Each resident received fresh eggs every day from a farm on the roof, which was equipped with chickens, goats, Stokes's personal strain of geese, and even a bear. Stokes himself was the black sheep of his family, said not to have been a slave to conventionalities, having married a 15-year-old, and dramatically getting shot in the leg by his two mistresses. The Ansonia and its drama quickly became the stuff of tabloids and gossip, attracting residents who didn't quite fit into the normal New York City elite. This shady reputation held on long after Stokes's death and transformed the fancy high-rise building into a place comfortable with people and proclivities society had deemed deviant. A place ripe with intrigue like the ocean, which enveloped the ship in mystery and legend as the Ansonia did with its community. Stokes's unique vision and accompanying shitty personality laid the bones for a community that would sustain until the current day. At first, an eccentric and even criminal element developed, whose world was exposed through headlines. For example, the racketeer Al Adams was found shot in the head in his apartment. A White Sox baseman famously made a deal with a gambler to throw the World Series, and Victoriano Huerta, the deposed Mexican dictator, plotted to help the Germans defeat the U.S. in World War II. Just as fringe as criminals, but much more openly adored by the public, was entertainers. Stokes's double-sized doorways and soundproof walls lent themselves to grand pianos and endless practice. And so when the newly renovated Met Opera began to house visiting talent at the Ansonia, the community quickly put down roots. Drawing large crowds of fans and gossip columnists, they brought the spectacle of theater and entourage with them every night. Their presence laid the bones for the continued link between the Upper West Side and music, with the eventual building of Lincoln Center, the new Met Opera, and the Beacon Theater within 10 blocks. But a rule of heterotopias is they are inexorably linked to time. And so, as the world changes what it finds acceptable, the heterotopias inevitably change with it. So, over 60 years later, when the farm had been shut down and the opera was old hat, there was space for a new world on the fringe of propriety, and the community of the Ansonia morphed into something new. Steve Ostro, an opera singer himself, took advantage of this unique condition and opened the Continental, a gay bathhouse at a time when homosexuality was still illegal. A new spectacle to spark the imagination of the New York City elite. The disco became particularly popular. Many big-name singers got their start there, such as Bette Midler, Barry Manilow, and Andy Kaufman. their careers buoyed by the talent already residing in the building. In 1973, the Met Opera even produced and recorded Live at the Bathhouse with Ansonia resident and famed opera singer Eleanor Strieber. On Saturday nights, heterosexual men in suits and women in mink coats could be found lining up, both for the musical show and to ogle the partially clad gay men. Cultural icons like Alfred Hitchcock, Andy Warhol, and Mick Jagger were often spotted amongst the crowds. This popularity was in strong juxtaposition to the everyday reality where it was still illegal for men to even dance together, emphasizing, like all heterotopias, the way in which this accepted reality was the real illusion. The existence of this safe space, the strength of its connections, and the truths it uncovered help organize and activate the community, eventually leading to the legalization of homosexuality in 1980. The success of the Continental, both as an entertainment venue and an activating space, paved the way for a slew of new gay bars and clubs, and became the inspiration for spaces like Studio 54 and disco culture in general. Over the course of time, the idea of the Ansonia as a utopia held true, in the way that utopias don't exist and, like many others, inevitably fell short. But in the falling, it created a space so unique and unbounded by cultural norms that it supported the evolution of our society. Each variation on deviance tied to time, unable to exist beyond the moment in which society accepted them as normal. The Ansonia functioned as a tributary to New York City, like the legends and sirens of sea creatures of yore. Streams of spectacle and deviance slowly siphoned off into the mainstream culture, until there was no one left who could tell the difference.